Part 1. The Invitation. It was a crisp autumn evening in the heart of Lahore, a city known for its rich history and vibrant culture. A young man named Hassan was scrolling through his social media feed when a peculiar invitation caught his eye. It was from an old friend, Ali, whom he hadn't seen in years. The invitation was for a weekend getaway to a remote farmhouse in the outskirts of the city, a place Ali referred to as the Devil's Playground. Intrigued and a bit apprehensive, Hassan decided to accept the invitation. The farmhouse was supposedly located in a secluded area, surrounded by dense forests and ancient ruins. The thought of exploring such a mysterious place was both exciting and terrifying. A few days later, Hassan met up with Ali at a local cafe. As they discussed the trip, Ali's eyes seemed to sparkle with a strange intensity. He spoke of the farmhouse with a mix of reverence and fear, claiming it was a place steeped in legend and folklore. "They say that a dark entity resides there," Ali whispered, his voice barely audible. "A creature that feeds on the fear and despair of those who dare to enter its domain." Hassan felt a chill run down his spine. He had always been fascinated by the supernatural, but the idea of encountering a real-life malevolent force was something he had never considered. Despite his apprehension, Hassan was determined to go. He saw it as an opportunity to test his courage and perhaps even uncover the truth behind the legends surrounding the Devil's Playground. Part 2. The Arrival. The journey to the Devil's Playground was long and winding. As they drove deeper into the countryside, the landscape grew increasingly desolate. The once vibrant green fields were replaced by barren, rocky terrain. The air was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl. When they finally arrived at the farmhouse, Hassan was struck by its dilapidated appearance. The paint was peeling, the windows were boarded up, and the once grand entranceway was now overgrown with weeds. A cold wind howled through the empty rooms, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. As they explored the farmhouse, Hassan couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. He glanced over his shoulder, expecting to see a shadowy figure lurking in the darkness, but there was nothing there. That night, as they huddled together by the fireplace, Ali began to share stories about the farmhouse's dark past. He spoke of strange occurrences, unexplained noises, and even sightings of a ghostly figure that roamed the halls. Hassan listened intently, his heart pounding in his chest. He tried to convince himself that it was all just superstition, but the atmosphere in the farmhouse was undeniably unsettling. As they drifted off to sleep, Hassan lay awake, his mind racing. He wondered if he had made a terrible mistake in coming to this place. But it was too late to turn back now. He was trapped in the Devil's Playground, and he had no idea what horrors awaited him. Part 3. The Haunting. The following morning, Hassan and Ali decided to explore the surrounding woods. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller and denser, casting long, eerie shadows on the forest floor. The air was thick with a damp, musty smell, and the only sound was the occasional chirping of birds. Suddenly, they heard a strange, rustling sound coming from behind them. They turned around, but there was nothing there. A chill ran down Hassan's spine as he realized they were not alone. As they continued their walk, the rustling sounds grew louder and more frequent. A sense of dread washed over Hassan as he realized they were being followed. He glanced over his shoulder, but there was still nothing to be seen. Just when Hassan thought he couldn't bear the tension any longer, he heard a faint whisper in his ear. It was a chilling voice filled with a sense of ancient malice. "You have trespassed on my domain," the voice said. "Now you will pay." Hassan spun around, But there was no one there. The voice seemed to come from all around him, echoing through the trees. Panic surged through him as he realized he was trapped in the clutches of a malevolent force. As darkness fell, Hassan and Ali made their way back to the farmhouse. They were exhausted and terrified, but they knew they couldn't stay in the woods any longer. As they entered the farmhouse, they felt a wave of relief. They were finally safe. Or so they thought. Part 4. The Confrontation. As the night wore on, Hassan and Ali huddled together by the fireplace, their fear palpable in the air. They tried to ignore the strange noises coming from the other rooms, but it was impossible. The creaking of floorboards, the rattling of windows, and the faint whispers that seemed to emanate from the walls were driving them to the brink of madness. Just when they thought they couldn't take it anymore, the farmhouse was plunged into darkness. A cold wind howled through the empty rooms, carrying with it a chilling sense of foreboding. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared in the doorway. It was a tall, gaunt creature with glowing red eyes. Hassan and Ali froze in terror as the creature approached them. "You have disturbed my peace," the creature hissed, its voice a chilling whisper. "Now you must pay the price." Before Hassan and Ali could react, the creature lunged at them. A battle ensued, a desperate struggle for survival. Hassan fought with all his might, his fear fueling his strength, but the creature was too powerful. It seemed almost invincible. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Hassan remembered a legend he had heard about the farmhouse. It was said that there was a hidden room deep within the basement, a room that held the key to defeating the evil that haunted the place. With renewed determination, Hassan managed to break free from the creature's grasp. He grabbed Ali's hand and led him towards the basement. As they descended the creaky stairs, the creature's howls grew louder and more menacing. Finally, they reached the bottom of the stairs. There, hidden behind a heavy stone wall, was a small, unmarked door. Hassan pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit room. Inside, on a dusty pedestal, was a shimmering blade. Hassan knew what he had to do. He grabbed the blade and turned to face the creature, which was now standing at the top of the stairs. The creature's eyes narrowed as it saw the blade in Hassan's hand. With a battle cry, Hassan charged towards the creature. The blade flashed through the air, striking the creature with a force that sent it reeling backward. The creature let out a blood-curdling scream before disappearing into the darkness. Hassan and Ali stood there, panting and trembling. They had defeated the evil that had haunted the farmhouse for so long. As they made their way back upstairs, they couldn't help but feel a sense of relief and accomplishment. They had survived the Devil's Playground. Part 5. The Escape. As the sun began to rise, casting its first rays of light through the farmhouse windows, Hassan and Ali made their way outside. The air was crisp and fresh, a stark contrast to the darkness and terror they had experienced the previous night. They stood in the courtyard, looking out at the vast expanse of countryside. The farmhouse, once a place of fear and dread, now seemed almost peaceful. "We did it," Ali said, his voice filled with relief. "We survived the Devil's Playground." Hassan nodded, a smile playing on his lips. He had faced his fears and emerged victorious. The experience had been terrifying, but it had also been exhilarating. As they prepared to leave, Hassan couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness. He knew he would never forget the events of that weekend. The farmhouse, with its dark secrets and ancient evil, would forever hold a special place in his heart. As they drove away from the Devil's Playground, Hassan turned to look back at the farmhouse. It stood there, silent and imposing, a testament to the horrors they had faced. But as he watched it fade into the distance, he felt a sense of peace. He had faced his fears and emerged stronger, and for that, he would always be grateful. Part 6. The Return Weeks. Later, Hassan was sitting in his living room, mindlessly scrolling through his social media feed. A notification popped up, alerting him to a new message from Ali. He clicked on it, his heart pounding in his chest. Ali's message was short and to the point. "I've been having strange dreams about the farmhouse. I think it's calling me back." Hassan felt a chill run down his spine. He knew what that meant. Ali was being drawn back to the devil's playground, and he was afraid of what might happen. Without hesitation, Hassan replied, "I'll be there." A few days later, Hassan found himself standing outside the farmhouse once again. The place seemed even more desolate and eerie than before. As he stepped inside, he felt a wave of dread wash over him. The farmhouse was silent, except for the faint whispers that seemed to echo through the empty rooms. Hassan wandered through the halls, his heart pounding in his chest. He was searching for Ali, but there was no sign of him. Suddenly, he heard a noise coming from the basement. He hesitated for a moment, but then he forced himself to descend the creaky stairs. As he reached the bottom, he saw Ali standing in the middle of the room, his eyes wide with terror. Hassan rushed towards him, but before he could reach him, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It was the same creature they had faced before, only this time it seemed even more powerful and menacing. The creature lunged at Ali, its claws outstretched. Hassan tried to intervene, but it was too late. The creature's claws sank into Ali's flesh, and he let out a blood-curdling scream. Hassan fought with all his might, but the creature was too strong. It seemed almost invincible. As the creature tightened its grip on Ali, Hassan felt a sense of despair. He knew that he couldn't save his friend. Just as the creature was about to deliver the final blow, Hassan heard a faint voice in his head. It was the voice of the ancient entity that had haunted the farmhouse. "You have returned," the voice said, "and now you will stay." Hassan felt a chill run down his spine as he realized that he was trapped. He was destined to become a prisoner of the devil's playground, forever haunted by the evil that lurked within its walls.